let's get it done. Clicks and reviews, we're number one. Reputation's key, we'll show you how. AI's the future, the time is now. Google for
Yesterday, I had to go to the bathroom super bad before a 2-hour video call, and we use every bit of the 2 hours in that call. And I have to go like out of my suite down the building to the other side of the building. And they were cleaning it, and I literally only had 5 minutes. And so I stood there trying to be like looming, get out of there, but also polite, hoping they would get out in time. And they did at 58, at 2 minutes till. And I ran in there, did my thing, and sprinted back down the hall, past a couple people. They probably thought I was insane, but I did get the job accomplished and back. I was on the verge of like, can you get out of here? I didn't want to be that guy. And they do a great job, and I want them to keep cleaning it that great, so I don't want to interrupt the ladies. All right, I'll get started here. Welcome to Google for Real Estate. I'm Derek Bixler, real estate agent, outdoor adventure sportsman, volunteer firefighter, and local SEO. And now I added on here an AI Google Gemini geek, ? I don't know if I'm going to leave that on there, but I do seem to be doing a lot of AI stuff, and I like it. And so testing that out, adding AI geek also on there. And a lot of the stuff I'm talking about today is, and mainly Gemini. So Gemini more specifically when we're talking about AI. But anyhow, let's get into it because we do have a bunch of stuff because I didn't have a show last week. Oh, I didn't mod anybody up. Let me mod couple of you in case people do come in because I don't watch, and if they want to come up. All right. You have the power now. All right, so I'll get right into it. Local services ads. I got to split up this week between a couple pieces of local services ads news, a couple pieces of Google Business. Well, one piece of Google Business profile news, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a million AI news things. Gemini more specifically. I think they're all Gemini. Well, one has to do with Apple, but we'll get to that. So local services ads. First piece of news is the phone line has gone away. So they have had the entire time you could call the phone line, and it was like the best help service of any online ads like Facebook, Meta. Good luck unless you spend $1 billion at these companies, you're really not getting any help from anybody for the most part. But Google was great. You could call, you could talk to somebody. If you're having an issue, you could like push through it. Sometimes with real estate agents, they don't, with the licensing and how we work and how we're named and stuff, sometimes they don't get it or the system just doesn't understand. So you have to push your way through it and say, no, that's how it is. And like, anyway, push your way through problems and get them done. You could get the problems done while you were on the phone with them and not have to wait. Sometimes they would say, hey, you're approved. You'll get an email within 3 days, it'll take effect or something. But while you were on the phone with them, it was kind of resolved. Again, you could go back. If it comes back denied, you could ask questions. Well, what's wrong? What do I need to do? Sometimes they didn't have an answer. The people don't have a lot of input to give you, but sometimes they can give you some kind of insight into it. So that was great. It was the best helpline ever. And then I guess it was Monday, I called the local services ads helpline, and they had two choices. Number one, enter your customer ID number. And when I did that, it said, go to the form, which they've been trying to push people through to already. A lot of times in the dashboard where you would click your menu, and at the bottom, it would show your customer ID number and have, here's the call line phone number. A lot of accounts in the last, I'd say over a year, maybe a couple years now, not every account, I'd say 50-50, you'd have a phone number, or it would just say to contact help, use this form, and you click this form and it takes you to an online form. So you could tell they were kind of trying to push people to that, but I would always call them and do it that way, with exception of like one thing that was better or easier with the form. But anyway, the phone line seems to have gone away. Number one, give them your phone, your customer ID. That just sent me to online form. And then I said, well, maybe number two, if I say I don't have a customer ID, maybe that'll get me to a human to help me. But that just then said, go online to create your account. So sounds like the phone line, and I don't know at what point they just disconnect these things, because I'm going to keep it in my phone. It's saved in my phone, and I'll probably try to call it again in a couple months and see what happens with that. It'll probably just still be active. They've got billions of dollars and can keep phone lines active, I suppose. So that's gone away. If you liked the phone line like I did, it is no more. Local services ads lead conversion best practices. I was just listening to a couple of in the local services ads dashboard. When you click on a lead, if it was a phone call, you can listen to the phone call. Sometimes I have to do that so that I can rate and sort the leads, because we want to give that information to Google. If you're not doing that, that is a best practice in local services ads, along with answering the phone and getting reviews and upping your budget and adding 100 photos. I think that's the max in there. And having a bomb ass headshot. That's pretty much all you can do in local services ads. Other than with leads, when you go into the leads tab, you can click on a lead and then you can rate the lead. So I usually rate it first. I'll say, if it was garbage, then you click terrible lead, and then it asks for a few reasons, and you pick the reason that's the closest to it, or you say this was awesome. So we want to tell the system so it can learn better what is good and what is bad, and what it should charge us for and not charge us for. But then after we rate it, I also like to mark it booked or archive it. If it was total crap or a rental call or completely nothing and I was not charged for it, it gets archived, trashed. But if I paid for it or it was an actual good call, I'm marking it booked. And then it asks you for a few pieces of information. Where was it? Was it a seller or a buyer or a relocator or whatever? It asks for price range. Sometimes I like to put that in there. If the actual price of the actual caller is not something desirable to you, maybe you put something else in there. But you want to mark them booked because you want to tell Google, first, I answer the phone, I get reviews, I set my account up right, all my things are on point, plus I get reviews, plus I answer the phone when you send me calls. And when I answer the phone, people like me. I book calls, I do business, so I'm a good person to send business to. And I do it in X place for this price range, blah, blah, blah. So I like to give Google all that information if possible. When I'm doing it for clients, it's very hard because that's too much time to go back and forth, them trying to tell me things and they don't do it themselves. So here and there, I will try to sort some. But in order to do it, I've got to either look at the messages. If it's a message one, I can just look at the messages and see, or listen to it. So in doing that, I was listening to some local services ads calls, and I obviously am not going to call people out. And this was not the person's account. It's somebody who has a team, and somebody else was answering the phone, a team member. And I think I met the team member before, a very nice person and everything. But on these calls, it seemed like it was a pain in the butt for her. It just wasn't, I guess, chipper enough. Didn't have her game face on, maybe. Also, well, there's a secondary thing, but that was the one thing I noticed was it just like when you pick up the phone and it says, when you get a local services ads call, it says call from Google, or any call really when you pick up the phone, but especially when it says call from Google, that should be a trigger to be, hey, how's it going? And just turn on smiling physically like Tony Robbins would tell you to do probably, and all the things, and just be overly eager to help and everything. And I realize it gets tough sometimes because you can get some garbage leads and then you're like, ugh. When you hear that call from Google, you're like, ugh, but you really got to still turn it on. And then if it's a bad call, take the 2 seconds. It only takes a couple seconds. No, I don't do that. Sorry. No, I don't do that. Sorry. Hang up. It's not that much time, less than the regular spam calls I get. But if it is a good call, you got to have your game face on and be ready. I've definitely done it myself. Call from Google. Hello, this is Derek. And the person, sometimes they sound weird because people don't know how to talk to people sometimes, and they even sound like a spam or a fake person. And you're like, I don't know if I get, and then maybe a couple minutes later, I'm like, oh, this is an actual person that I should have been being nicer to and trying to lock this down and whatnot. So I guess what I wrote down here was local services ads, lead conversion best practices, and I guess it's lead conversion best practices for any kind of phone call lead or if outbound too, but got to be chipper and friendly and eager and not off-putting when you answer the phone. Could really be the make or break it. And if you are a team member and you want to see what's happening on the calls that somebody else is answering for you, you can go in there and listen to them. And they're not every call. You might listen to a bunch and it's like they were just having a bad day that other day, or it was after a string of 3 bad calls. So they have had it with local services ad. Then you get a good one, and then the next local services ad call you get, you're very chipper. You're like, "Hey, hello, how's it going?" You're like, "Oh, another rental garbage call. Hopefully, I don't get charged for." But it's the lead conversion game. There is no magic button that just gives you things magically for free. Local services ads was kind of that for a while, but even that got to work for a little bit. All right, Google Business Profile, or maybe I should pause and look at the live Clubhouse. There's more people in here. Come up if you want to. Or if anybody has any questions about local services ads or anything. I guess a couple of people are modded and can get people up if they want to. All right, Google Business Profile news. Product section is gone. So this is huge. Well, it's not gone. It's done for us as realtors as we know it. So the product section, and this is huge news because it's one of 8. Well, now we're down to, here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to take out the advertising tab and the profiles tab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8. I should just stress that I know what I'm talking about. 8 tabs that are things that you can do on your Google Business Profile, either settings tabs or get reviews, photos, posts, Q&A, bookings, whatever. So this year we've seen it go from 8 tabs to now the Q&A section should be on its way out. I think I mentioned last show that they took away the ability for us as admins to ask our own question. So we can't do the old put FAQ in the Q&A section anymore. So that's gone, and there is talks of it going away altogether. So that's kind of just gone away for us. And kind of, I mean, it's good to get people. If you could get people, like actual consumers, to ask you questions and then answer them, those are great signals to Google. But you're going to go through all that. You might as well get a review that for sure is going to be sticking around forever. Hopefully, knock on wood with Google. So Q&A section we've seen kind of gone by the wayside. And then the edit products section, which is it's 1/3 of the imagery on your Google Business Profile. When someone's scanning your business profile at the top, they're going to see the photos section, which is the biggest and most prominent. Sometimes they'll mix in an update image up into the photos section if you have a recent one, but basically it's the photos section at the top. And then they scroll your profile, see some information, and then most times in the middle somewhere, they'll see your products section, which hopefully has some pictures with them. I think you have to have a picture with a product. I've never tried not to have a picture, but then all the way at the bottom typically would be your updates. And a lot of times, especially on mobile, it would be kind of an endless scroll of your updates / posts. So 1/3 of the imagery, 1/3 of what makes you look pretty. It's also where we put sold houses, which is triggering what I'm talking about right now, where we would put social proof in addition to putting our services, productizing our services, listing services, buyer agent services, putting guides, home search, luxury home search, all that kind of stuff in there. We would also put some people would put for sales, or I stopped doing that because then you got to remember to police it. I got to go in there and switch it to pending and switch it to closing. And I do coming soon. So I would start with coming soon to sold to for sale. And it's not really doing anything for the listing really. So I just skip all that and only add them as solds, and solds sit there as good social proof. As they're scanning the profile, they would see the big sold, and then in town. Basically, what you want to resonate with them is sold in town, all that kind of stuff. So we used to put the solds in there. As of, I guess, last week is when it happened for me, or I started seeing it. And then it was actually a day or, or so before that when I got an email from somebody saying, hey, all my products I just added got rejected. What's up? And I was like, I don't know. Are you attached to Merchant Center? Because you can attach to Merchant Center. Don't do it. And then that complicates things. So that was my first question. And I wasn't seeing anything. And I looked in all my accounts, wasn't seeing anything weird. And then a day or two later, I then saw it. So what happened was Google started enforcing an immovable property policy. You cannot list immovable property in your product section on your Google business profile. And technically you're not supposed to productize or like put your services there either. It's really against policy for service businesses in general to use it the way we use it, and others use it the way we use it, accountants, insurance agents, all that kind of stuff. Really not supposed to do any of it, but they never policed it and everybody still uses it. However, they are policing the immovable property now. So if you click on it would be the Edit Products tab. What you want to do is click on it if you have any in there. If you don't have any products, doesn't matter to you, but I would go in there and immediately audit your product section, click Edit Products, and then go through, and there will be a black thing across that says rejected, I believe is what it says. So you want to first delete every rejected one for sure. And that's true of everything on the Google business profile. If you add a photo to the photo section and it gets rejected, I would delete it and don't keep trying to add it. You that put my photo on, you should do it. Don't do that. If it gets rejected, delete it and move on with your life. But in the product section, delete all the rejected ones. And then what I'm telling people to do, which sucks, and I'm not following my own rules because I'm a risk taker and I can more easily fix it if it goes wrong for myself. But what I'm telling everybody to do is first delete all the rejected ones, whether they're sold houses or services or whatever, and then at least delete all your solds. So any that you've added, even if it wasn't rejected, just because the system didn't catch it with whatever measure they put in place, which I know what the measure is and I know how to still add them and not get caught. But they're going to catch up eventually. So on client accounts, I'm not adding them anymore. On my own, like I said, I'm risking the ones that are already there and leaving them there. But for everybody else, I'm telling delete the rejected immediately. Then I would delete every sold house that you have added, every for sale, every house, period. And even your home search. Like I typically have a category called homes for sale. And then under that category, you've got home search, luxury homes. Maybe you have like beach homes if you're at the beach, waterfront homes, whatever. I would delete any of those ones you have as well. At least those ones that are directly related to the immovable property policy. And then if you want to be crazy careful, you could delete just every single product, period, all the services and everything. Like I said, me personally, I am not doing that yet, but I guess officially, I would say delete all of them if you want to be careful. But for sure, the immovable property related ones. And if you want, I guess I'll say that why I believe they're getting caught. Well, they're getting caught because it's against policy and they're policing it. But what I noticed between mine and the ones that other people are posting, because mine still, I could still do it, and all the ones I've done in the past are still sitting there approved and fine. The difference is there's two differences. I think the second difference I'm going to say is the main difference, but I do not put a price because my solds are meant to sit there forever as a big bank of social proof and looking good. Like in mine, and a major reason I'm not deleting mine is because I've got like 50, I've got a lot in there, and I've got a client or two with a bunch in there too. So I don't want to delete all the old ones. Possibly will at some point, but at the moment not. But anyway, we don't put the price and especially if you're going back in time to try to source content to put on your Google business profile, I'm trying to find old sales or whatever, something I sold 3 years ago that price might not make any sense today, 300, and now it's worth $500. I don't want to put the price there. Plus, it saves time of having to put the price there. Nobody really cares about the price. Again, what you're trying to resonate with was the sold in that town. I sell in this town. I sell in this town. I sell in that town. So price, I don't put. And then also the website. I never link to the actual property on the website. And Google for sure scans the website that's attached to the Google business profile that you link to. When you have ads, they're scanning it to make sure your website is okay. And if it's not, they won't let you run ads. Same in local services ads. If your website link in there is like a dead link, it used to go to your website. Now you change brokerages and that website's no longer available. Your local services ads will likely stop and they'll want you to put a good URL in there. So websites they care about a lot. We know that. And that's one of the differences I see is everybody else is putting the property page in there, which I don't do because I'm not putting for sales on there, and sending them to the property page for a sold property doesn't make any sense. So I actually have a purpose-built page that says, that's like a sales closed page. Sorry, this is sold. I can help you with my listing services or whatever. Or a Calendly link or a contact us page for clients I usually use. So it never goes to the property page. So there's nothing for Google's system to scan and figure out that it is an immovable property. So I think the website link is really what they're using to catch it and flag them or whatever. But having said that, don't do it officially. I'm leaving mine that are approved for now. But on new accounts that I'm optimizing, I am not doing the product section. I guess I am. I just did 2 this week. I am still doing the services ones, but the products one I had to go back and delete because I did it like a day before this happened. So I added a bunch of products for them. And then in the meeting with that client, we deleted all those products that I just added, which were approved because I know how to do it. Anyhow, that's the product section. Kind of big news. Again, 1 out of 8 of the main tabs in the Google business profile is essentially not usable for us anymore. And the Q&A section. So now we're down to about 6 tabs only, which is less to manage, I suppose. So that's the Google business profile news. Does anybody have any questions or anything about the product section? Another note to that, if you're thinking of questions, is if you're wondering how to get rid of a whole category, the category will automatically disappear when you move all the products out of that category or delete all of the products in that category. Sometimes you get a typo in a category and you realize it later. You would have to kind of go into each product, move them to a new category with the proper spelling. And then once you move them all over, that old one will automatically disappear when there are no products in the category. So that was probably the main question people were asking when I posted it when that happened. And then AI news, AI/Gemini, mostly use Gemini. That's my AI of choice. And I'm Mr. Google, and it frankly is the best at most of the things. Doesn't mean other ones don't have niches and are good at things. But like I've said before, I think at some point you just got to put your eggs in a basket and choose one. So it can learn you, which I'm going to talk about because it's getting pretty awesome now. You got to kind of pick one. So Gemini's mine, and that's the one I pay for. Officially turned off payment for ChatGPT a couple of weeks ago. I really don't even go there anymore. Last week, I went there and scraped all my stuff that I had given it out of it to put it into Gemini. So Gemini is mine of choice. So that's what we're going to talk about here. First piece of news in here, they had the Consumer Electronics show a couple weeks ago. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you probably saw a lot of YouTube videos about that in your feed. One thing that I noticed, or my ears perked up when people said it, was that Gemini, Google's AI, is powering the Boston Dynamics Atlas robot, which is like the premier industrial robot right now. I think it's only available. I looked up if you could buy it. It's only available for industrial use. Like Hyundai just bought 8 billion of them. Not that many, but they're building plants and training them to run their plants, and others are coming as well. So Boston Dynamics, which are famous for the dogs, they kind of started the dog thing. big robotic company. Their Atlas robot, my ears perked up. Somebody said it's powered by Gemini AI. All the robots that are being created have to be powered by some kind of AI. So they're being powered by Gemini. I also heard him mention, and have then heard since then, a lot of other ones run on Gemini. So Gemini seems to be the main one that's powering things. I'm guessing the Tesla Optimus will run on Grok, on X's AI. The other home bot, the Neo, I think it's called, which has like soft, I don't know, you can look it up. It's got like a soft cloth layer to it, kind of like a Google Home speaker. So they tried to, and it's meant for home use and doing home chores or whatever. And that one you can join the wait lists, and that's probably the cheapest one. I think it's 14 grand or something like that. But the Neo, they have their own AI, a proprietary AI, which I'm guessing still is trained using some bigger model or something. But the one I heard said the most was Gemini. So Gemini seems to be the premier one that is powering robotics, at least here. I'm guessing China and other places. It's what do they have? DeepSeek in China? Is that the one, the big one over there? Okay, and now we got, so powering robots, Atlas robot, and there are robots you could buy right now, and that's a marketing thing. I feel like I've said that before. I feel like the first person to get a robot is going to get a bunch of business from said robot. They're going to watch your content. You got your robot at showings. Come see the robot at open houses. Fantastic for marketing. All the stores that have gotten robots first, and they have them like in the front folding clothes. People actually come out to the store. They're the best performing stores and all that kind of stuff. So I'm toying with, I mean, the price point most of them are trying to hit is like, seems to be 13 grand and 20 grand. And then they go up to 100, 120, blah, blah, blah. But they are trying to have them. And at 13 grand, that's one deal, maybe two deal. My market, we got some cheap stuff, maybe two deals. But that pays for itself pretty quickly. So my question though is, can it get in and out of the car? Because if I'm going to take it on showings, it's got to be able to get in and out of the car well anyway. So I think robots would be a fantastic, or a robot, the second they are able to be bought, and being the first one with a robot, I think would be killer for marketing for sure. Or even a coffee shop or whoever, and I think this is the year you will see a robot. Most of us haven't seen one out in the street or walking around. They're not really out there. Like I said, most are waitlist or they're industrial use at this point, but there are a few you can buy, a few waitlists, and the Optimus will be highly adopted too. And I think they're toying with possibly you buy them or possibly you lease them. I hate the lease, except if they break or something. It's great to have it always fixed and that kind of thing. At some point, we all have 3 payments now. Well, 4, because the cell phone is like one that everybody has. House, car, cell phone, robot. And Gemini will be powering a lot of that. Another reason to let Google know you, which is my next piece of information here. If you use Gemini, you will want to go into Gemini and turn on personal intelligence, which was a big thing in the news past couple weeks, them turning on a bunch of personal intelligence stuff. And they've been talking about making things a lot more personalized in your results, including like, where are you sitting right now? I noticed that in my Gemini now. I can see that it knows where I'm sitting right now. That little like call out at the bottom of the settings tab in Gemini was not there before. Not that I noticed anyway. So there's a lot happening there. What you need to do, if you want to do it, I for sure want to do it. I want it to know everything about me all the time, which it's very close to now. I'm freaking loving it after this. So you can go in there and tell it things just like ChatGPT, custom instructions, but you can also turn other things on. So what you want to do is you would click personal intelligence in your settings in Gemini. And I do pay for Pro, not Ultra, but I do pay for Pro. And forgive me if everything I say is not for free members, because it's hard for me to go back and forth. I guess that's something I could do, is toggle over to one that I don't pay for. But I think personal intelligence is for everybody. So anyway, you click the personal intelligence. First thing there, you got 3 options. Past Gemini chats. Do you want it on or off? Do you want it to be able to reference past chats, all you're talking to it, all the things you've talked about, or not? Of course I do. Yes, do that. And you can manage or delete at any time, turn it on or off at any time, yada, yada. The bottom one, instructions for Gemini. That's where you're going to add your custom instructions like you would have on ChatGPT. And you can add multiple. I have not gotten to the limit, but I've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've added 7 because they have character limits, and basically dumped everything I could tell it about me professionally, me personally, like down to like my favorite foods, my this and that, anything I could brain dump. I had brain dumped in ChatGPT, so I had a bunch of stuff took out of there. Then I added some stuff. Then I condensed it and dropped it in here. So that's the most surefire way to make sure that it knows certain things you want it to know every single time, all the time, is in those instructions. So you can put as much or as little as you want to in there. I think at some point you won't even need these custom instructions. This thing's just going to learn everything. But for now, I want it to know as much as possible, and I will continue putting stuff in there until I don't have any more stuff to put in there, or it limits me or stops me doing it. So your instructions, you want to put those in there if you want them. And then the last one is the connected apps, which is the big one. And this is actually not new. This was on a while ago for me, but seems to be people were talking about it recently, or maybe it rolled out to free members now, possibly. So if you click it, there is a Google Workspace tile that you can turn on or off. And then you've got Gmail, Docs. Ooh, Docs. I didn't notice that one last time. Wow. Docs, Google Keep, which is my note taking notes of choice, Google Calendar, fantastic, Google Drive, that's could be anything, and Google Tasks. So it can set reminders, do all that stuff. So turn on your life, so to speak, in Google Workspace. Yes, please. And then separately, you've got, and I think if you could maybe turn on or off each of those ones separately. I never tried. I don't want to, but maybe you could. And then Google Photos, you can turn on or off. Yes. And I am going to actually, I don't use Google Photos because they want you to use Google Photos. So, and Drive, they want you to use those things. So they fill up, you fill it up, and then you got to go up to the next tier. And I kind of like, I try to just purge onto a local hard drive here, any archive of photos or that kind of stuff. But now I think I'm going to start putting them on there. Plus, I pay anyway, and I'm going to be paying for it forever anyway. So I think I'm going to start using Google Photos, putting my photos there, and then it can find anything at any time, make it into anything, including a video, all at the click of talking to the thing. That's going to be awesome. So Google Photos, the example that the Google executive used in this recent reel on, I think it was, everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, wherever they put it, he went to get tires, and he was standing there, and they said, "What kind of tires do you need?" He said, "I have no idea." Asked his phone, "Hey, Google," oh, I almost said it. All my things will start. He said, "Hey, device, what kind of tires should I get for the car?" He didn't say what car, or it just didn't say anything beyond that. And it just found photos, found stuff, told him a few different options, which is better for which conditions, blah, blah, blah. And then they wanted his license plate. And instead of walking out, he was like, "Well, what's my license plate?" And he had never told it or anything. It then found some photo somewhere that kind of had it in the photo, or figured it out somewhere, and then told him, and it was correct. So anyway, I'm going to start using Google Photos because it's great to be able to find stuff and use things and sort things later in life when I want to find, oh, I need that photo of Piper skiing back when she was, I don't know, 10 or 12 or something like that. And it'll go find them because all the metadata is on those photos. It can read, even if you don't title them, it can read where it was, when it was, all that stuff. It can look at the actual photo. By then, it's going to know who was Piper and which one in the photo is Piper or Lucy or Will or whatever. So Google Photos for sure. Search services, yes. So it can see my search patterns and what I'm searching for, which is great because I just asked it something. What was it? I asked it something, and it will reference, like, it'll give me my answer, and then it'll be like, and this is how it relates to what you were just searching. And if you want, and I'm like, yes, exactly what I wanted. So you can turn that on, and then YouTube personalized insights based on your YouTube data, like video and music recommendations, blah blah blah. Yes, I also want that. Plus, by turning these on, I probably gives you access. Pretty sure it does. On my phone, there's more options, but it gives access for it to do commands. Like if I tell it to play a certain YouTube or a YouTube video or a song or something, it will do it. So YouTube turn on, and then YouTube Music, which I pay for. If you pay for music, I would pay for YouTube Premium. I would drop your Spotify or whatever you have, and pay for YouTube Premium. So then you get ad-free YouTube, which is the bomb, and there's all kinds of benefits with that. But then you also get YouTube Music, which is the same and has all the music. And if you're worried about podcasts, YouTube is the biggest podcast platform on the planet. It's also the biggest short form viewed platform on the planet now, and it's the biggest TV platform on the planet. Anyhow, turn on YouTube stuff. And then on my phone, there are more options. There are others. GitHub means nothing to any of you. OpenStax means nothing to you. SynthID, a way to verify medias, or blah, 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 means nothing to you. I have them all on, but whatever. And then on my phone, there were more. There's a text message one, allow it to do text messages for me, allow it to make calls for me. And I think there were a couple other things on the phone that it could do for me. Plus the map stuff, all the stuff that if you have an Android, I can say, hey, device, and it already did. Like, hey, device, drive to this place, and Maps pops up and drives me there. So at this point, it can do everything. And officially the Hey device now, the Google Assistant that was built into Android devices, is now Gemini. So they were kind of staggering the rollout to some people or not other people, and maybe they still are, but mine now is Gemini. So when I say Hey device, it, number one, knows everything about me, literally, because of what I just stated to everybody. It knows everything about me, so it has all the context, plus can do the things for me. What did I say? I said, hey, I forget what I asked it. And then another thing in the settings, so that's personal intelligence. Give it your instructions, turn on all your connected apps if you want to, and I would do it. You probably just do it from your phone, because then you can turn on all those extra phone ones if you want to, because if you do it from computer, you'll only be able to see the computer ones. And then past Gemini chats, I would turn that on, and all these are off by default. If you haven't gone into Gemini for a while, if you open it up, it might prompt you and say, hey, personal intelligence is here, do you want to do it? I would say yes, or you could just say no, not right now, and then you could go in there and turn on the ones you want on, or turn off, or whatever. But I am loving it. It literally knows everything about me. Oh, that's what I asked it. I have open mics in my calendar every Thursday night, 8 to midnight, which I rarely even go to. I've never even been on stage. It's like a bucket list thing to someday go on stage sometime, but sometimes I go to just watch or whatever. It's in my calendar because I don't want to give up on it as a thing that I want to do. But it knows that, obviously. It sees it there, and I asked it this question, and it answers it, relates the answer to a firefighting question, or to something about open mics. What did I ask it? Oh, the next thing I was about to go over. Scheduled actions, which is also under settings. If you were to click settings in Gemini, there would be an option called scheduled actions. So you can actually have it do things for you, not all things for you, but it can do things for you. Where did I pull up some of the things it could do? Oh no, I asked Gemini what it could do. Now I went away from that chat though. Setting up Gemini. Monitoring and research. So news and trends every morning at 7 a.m. Give me a summary of real estate market news for Pennsylvania and national mortgage rate trends. It knows I'm a real estate agent, so obviously I didn't ask for that. It just related that example to me. Competitor SEO checks. I love this one. Every Monday at 9 a.m., scan the top 5 search results for Realtor in Carlisle, PA, and summarize any changes in ranking or new ads. I mean, that's sick. That basically takes the place of, like, we all pay, all SEO people pay for rank tracking tools and all these things. And Google seems like Gemini, just right in using Gemini, seems to be pretty good at checking rankings, or if you ask it for the top asked questions about these things or whatever, it's pretty great at doing it and giving you great answers that, when double checked, also makes sense. And I don't know if it'd be awesome if it had the ability to actually go use Google Trends and Google Analytics and all the things in the background and then come up with answers. So I don't know how it actually does it in the background, but it's pretty fantastic at SEO analysis and rank tracking and giving that kind of analysis for things. But the example was every Monday at 9 a.m. scan. You heard what it is. So anybody could do that. If you have Gemini, assuming the scheduled actions are to free members also, again, I would recommend, if you're paying for one of them, pay for Gemini. Definitely worth it. And a note, if you pay for Workspace, that does get you some parts of Gemini upgraded, but not all. There are still limits on some things. So if you really want access to all the Gemini stuff, you got to pay for it separately. Every Monday at 9, blah, blah, blah. So anybody could do that and check your rankings every Monday. I'm going to check that. I'm going to set one for each one of my management clients, and then I'll probably set it for like tomorrow and then see what it is, and then set it for the actual cadence that I want. And then hobbies, interests. Every Friday at 5 p.m., list open mic nights or comedy events happening in Harrisburg, Carlisle this weekend. So it knows where I live. It knows, except it's telling me Friday night. Hey, you should know that it's Thursday night when the open mic is. So why would you tell me Friday night? So a little bit better to get at, but still related it to what I like. Workspace organization every weekday at 8, summarize emails from the last 24 hours, yada, yada. So it can do all kinds of things, a lot of which is drafting and writing and kind of email or schedule type things, not computer use or actual tasks or doing things. So useful, yes. I am going to try it for some of these things. And as it gets better, it'll be able to do more. And you can have up to 10, it says here. There is currently a cap of 10 active scheduled actions at one time. And you will probably be wondering, when I click scheduled actions, there's no place to add a new scheduled action. So the way that you do it is you just start a regular new chat, and just say, hey, automate this thing for me, maybe go find those examples and drop one of them in here. Or you ask, that's how I got those examples. I went into Gemini and said, how do I do scheduled posts or scheduled actions? And it told me and gave me examples. And then, hey, do you want to set one of them right now? So you just go into Gemini and do that. And then when you click on the scheduled actions button, that's where all your scheduled actions that you've made would be sitting. I think that's all. I mean, that's a big thing, not all, but turn on your personal intelligence in Gemini. I absolutely love it. I want to get to the point where it's an all-around assistant, all-knowing, all the time, in my ear, that does all the things. And this is just getting closer and closer to it. And the less I have to do things or tell it things, the better. So I love it. Some people maybe not, with privacy or whatever. Oh, and a note, they don't use your stuff to train the model or put it out to the world or whatever. You can, and again, you can turn it on and off at will with a toggle button. All that stuff. Scheduled actions I talked about. Gemini expanding into Gmail. Sort of. It was already there, but people weren't talking about it too much. I did notice this week that it is a little bit more prominent. Sometimes when I make an action, it'll just automatically have this little thing at the top of the emails, this AI thing that kind of gives me suggestions of things it could do for me or whatever. The Gemini button went away. And now in the search bar, instead of, mine just said search or whatever, now it says get answers from Gmail. So really the search bar up there is is the AI. There is no separate AI. It's just really that search button up there or those suggestions it'll give you. And I wasn't using it really for anything, but now I found a use for it, and I think it solves a great problem. So the use I found is I have lots of clients with lots of different login things, and it's hard to keep track of all that stuff. And now it's super easy to just say, I need the YLOPO login for this person and let it go. And it finds it, summarizes it. Here's their login name. Here's the password they gave you. Oh, but then they said that, you said it didn't work. And here's the other password. And then it also links to where it got it from. So they've stated that they don't want it to feel creepy. So the same thing with search results or in AI mode or whatever. There's that little thing next to it that has a little like number 1 or number 2. So that's how many sources that part of it came from. And then if you click on it, you can go to the email. So both if you want to verify it or read more, or you just want to know, like, how do you know this? Why does this know this? I don't care about that, but the average consumer might think, well, that's creepy. How do you know that? So it will give you the sources, and it works like magic. Every time finds what I need. I'm now starting to use it to find other things. And I think it ends having to sort your emails at all. I stopped sorting my emails, I want to say a couple years ago. I used to be a Nazi about clean inbox, everything sorted where it goes perfectly, like a Nazi about it. Every day had to be cleared out. And that was a to-do list sitting there still, which it still kind of is, but everything's sorted. Which takes a lot of time. Takes a lot more time, at least for me, it did. So I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to try to in the subject, put, the address if it's a real estate property or a real estate deal, or the client if it's a marketing client. I try to put certain words in the subject. If I get an email, I'll reply and put that into the subject or whatever. So purposely trying to label them so they're easily searchable. But even without that, just searching email addresses, I could always, not one time since I switched was I not able to find what I needed pretty darn quickly just by the normal search. And now with this search that can really dive deep and look at everything and find me exactly what I need, and then you can also just search the regular way by email or by keyword or whatever. I think it kills having to sort your emails. And if it was simple, what would it look like type of person. I don't want to do any extra actions. I shave my head because I don't want to do my hair in the morning. I wear the same pants and shirts like every day because I don't want to think about any of that. I don't want to spend any time doing anything extra that I don't need to do. So this saved me a lot of time, a lot of headache and stress, like always feeling like I gotta sort it, I gotta do this. And if I need a reminder to do something, you tell Gemini or you leave it unread or whatever. So I'm loving that. I'm not necessarily telling everybody else to do it because I know how much one can be committed to sorting, and it feels like you're losing every bit of organization by not sorting. But it's pretty great. And now that I've already trusted it without AI, I can for sure trust it with AI, and I will never go back to sorting emails ever again, unless it's like super. Well, nah. Even my taxes last couple of years, I don't sort anything. Nope. All right. What's my next thing on here? So Gemini is in Gmail, which already kind of was, but is more. And you can try that out. And it's in all accounts, not just Workspace. Everybody should have it in your regular Gmails, I believe. Gemini rolled out to War Department employees. I think I was listening to a press conference or something, and I noticed that the general, I don't know who it was, somebody from the military high up, was talking about how Gemini just rolled out to all War Department employees and all the investments in AI that we're doing as a military and country. And so then my ears perked up again, and Google and Amazon Web Services were the most mentioned when they made references to companies that they're like partnering with or using for their infrastructure or whatever. So another win for Gemini and Google, the government kind of adopting them as the one to use, which makes sense. the most stable, the most powerful, the biggest, best, full stack. They make their own chips, tons of money to spend. Amazon Web Services also. A lot of the other AI models run on Amazon Web Services. Huge, not going anywhere, blah, blah, blah. So government ties to Google there. And then another win for Gemini. It's like 2025, 26 is the year of Google. They came from everybody like Google's dead, ChatGPT, to dominating and destroying everybody everywhere with everything. New deal for Apple to use Gemini as their personalized Siri and AI platform. So, new deal for Apple to use Google, not OpenAI or Anthropic or whoever, all the others that were trying to get it, especially OpenAI. I think OpenAI is butthurt and really wanted it really bad, but Gemini will be doing it. I think it was a multi-year collaboration. They both released a joint statement, so they're both kind of acknowledging it and saying it exists and it happened and we're both on board with it. Sometimes that doesn't happen or they don't want to mention it for whatever reason, but that partnership has happened multi-year, should lead to a more personalized Siri, which would make sense. And especially if you use Gmail and everything on your Apple, I'm guessing, well, if you have Gemini specifically on your Apple phone, then you could do all those things and use Gemini like anybody else. But with Gemini being integrated now, I'm guessing just natively, possibly, it might be able to see all your emails and all that kind of stuff. So Apple and Gemini in bed, and it's still I don't know. I don't have Apple. The lawsuit, I believe, made it so that Google would not be the default search on Apple devices, which it was, and which has been a lot of Apple's profit for a long time. Google paying them to be the default search. Part of the lawsuits this past year or so were to stop that. And then they were going to put, when you get a new iPhone, it would say, which search engine do you want to use? Give you a choice. Everybody's going to choose Google, other than the two people that choose DuckDuckGo and Bing for whatever reason, just to make their life more complicated and harder, to make a statement or something. But anyway, and I don't know whether that's taken effect, because I think Google is contesting all the court findings or rulings or whatever. So anyway, Apple and Google, Gemini in bed. And I did not hear who was paying who. So I don't know who is paying who. I don't know if Google is paying Apple to be the AI of choice, or if Apple is paying Google to be their AI platform. I did not hear that. Google DeepMind Mariner. You can get on the wait list for this thing if you want. And right now it's available to AI Ultra users. That's the next tier up, the $250, I think it is, a month. Mariner, and you could look it up. Google Mariner is their computer use model. So what you can do with like a Atlas, or what the browsers that you're hearing about will go and perform tasks for you. This is Google's. Like I said, it is available in testing to the Ultra users right now. I don't have that, so I haven't been able to try it. But it will be rolling out soon to everybody, probably at some point. It is a computer use model, is what they call these things. And what that means is, just like it sounds, it will use your computer to do things. So literally clicking around the internet, watching you do a thing and then mimicking it, which is really the next step in what I need to do a lot of the tasks that I have to do, or that a VA would do, or something, a monkey, if it could be trained. Like, a lot of tasks are just, you got to click this and then copy it and click it and paste this on this website. And it's going back and forth from tabs and performing tasks that are not complicated. They just have to be done. So this basically would do stuff like that. We're bringing Project Mariner's computer use capabilities into blah, blah, blah. Building safety in the agentic area. Once agents have learned how to do a task, they can try to replicate the same workflow in the future with minimal input, freeing up even more of your time. So just like I said, kind of screen share. And there are other ones that do that now. Like I said, multiple ones, the big ones you've heard of and other ones you've never heard of. And there are ones that developers can use and turn into anything, which is way beyond me. But this would be more of a consumer type product. And there is a little video of kind of how it works there if you wanted to watch that. So Project Mariner, if you want to get on that wait list or pay the big money to be able to use it, you could do that. And then if you wanted to automate something right now, you could use a super gem, or which is what some people are calling them, and which is how you would access these, or you could go directly there. But it's called Opal by Google. It's at opal.google.com. Or no, it's just opal.google / but just Google Opal and you should be able to get there. Or in your Gemini app, when you click gems to manage your gems, at the top above your normal gems should be a pop-up thing with AI, the Google Labs thing, which just means it's in testing. And then it'll have the new ones there. If you click on one and then click Open Advanced Editor, you could edit it right there and do it and all the stuff. But you want to open Advanced Editor, and then it'll take you over to Opal. So essentially, to do what I'm talking about, just go to opal.google, and then you can. And I'm assuming it's free again. I do pay for it. But I think it is free to some extent for people, depending on what you're using it for. And then you can do drag and drop automations, which I think I talked about in the last episode. Since then, I have run my last week in Carlisle blog post differently. Last time I ran it, my flow did not give me exactly what I wanted. This time I got a little bit better article. I got all my blog tags that I wanted and formatted the way I wanted it. I got my source links added and formatted the way I wanted it. I learned how the output comes out and how to deal with that. Basically, it puts it in a Google Doc, but it will keep adding to the same Google Doc. So I'll do one, get my article off of it, and then delete the whole thing. So next time I use it, it's fresh in the new one. But anyway, so I figured that part out. I took out any image creation. So that's one of the things it says it will do, but I tried and could not get it to do that, at least in this somewhat complicated workflow. So I just abandoned that and had prompts be output, which was still an extra step the old way I did it. Bunch of steps, and then I would ask it for the prompts for the images and blah, blah, blah. So this is just, I put my date range in there, and then it does everything and gives me the article, the tags, the prompts for the images, basically everything short of posting it on the website and creating the images with the prompts, which I think with an extra flow or something, I'll be able to do that. But I did dial that in a bit. A note, if you're going to try this, and something I noticed in regular Gemini, they have deep research. And you could try this, actually. It's an interesting exercise. Tell it to look you up as if you're writing a documentary, find everything about Derek Bixler, who lives there right now, leave no stone unturned. I want everything, every piece of information about his whole life, everything ever, and do that in Gemini and in Notebook LM and see what the differences are. In Gemini, I kind of actually like it. I felt like it would come up with more, but anyway, you can do deep research, which is going to be somewhat similar to what Notebook LM does when you ask it to find sources for you. So you can do deep research right in Gemini, or you can do it in Notebook LM. In Opal, this workflow automation that I'm talking about, there's no Notebook LM in here. This is all you have access to is regular Gemini. So it was Gemini doing the research and then also writing the article. So this week I did the same, my usual flow in Notebook LM to research, write the article, prompts for images, do the whole nine. And then I also did it in this more automated workflow, which is just using Gemini, not within Notebook LM, compared them. And I think I will be able to go with the fully automated one outside of Notebook LM. This is where I noticed that the deep research really, it does a lot of kind of the same things as Notebook LM. It even opens up a different like user interface when you go into deep research than a regular chat or when you're making an image or something, and it gives you some of the same options. Like it gave me an audio overview option, not all the options that Notebook LM has, but some of the same options in deep research, which tells me they're using some of the same technology and assets and things to move it over and kind of build it within Gemini also. So, but there were differences. Number one, I noticed that Notebook LM found some news things that Gemini didn't, and vice versa. Gemini found some things that Notebook didn't. So now this week, I took both the articles, the written articles, and then I opened a new chat in Gemini, dumped both of those articles in there, or actually I did it in Notebook so it wouldn't think about anything else except the two articles I gave it. And then I said, combine these two articles and make sure all the main points are hit. And it did it very fantastically. And then I had a good end product that I liked. But that does raise a flag, because now do I have to do that every time to make sure I get everything? Should I do it in other AIs, in Claude research, and then combine 4 articles, do it in chat, do it now? And that's a lot of work. But a good article should require some work, and the AI should be helping you make a better article, more readable, more user-friendly, more AI-friendly, all the things you want it to be. That should be the goal. So the goal shouldn't be I give it a thing and it easiest path for one click to have SEO slop. But I don't want to have to go to 8 different places to make sure everything's correct. So I think next week, when I do my last week in Carlisle article, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a couple tweaks to my automation to make a couple more improvements. I'll try to build an automation for my images, even if it's another flow that I can just drop all the prompts in to then get all the images at once or something. That would be ideal. So I'll try to do that. And then I'm still going to do my usual Notebook LM version way. And then I will compare them. And hopefully at some point I don't have to use both. And it'd be great if the automation did it. And it would be great. You can't, and I did try this in regular Gemini, you can pull a notebook into a chat. So I could do a notebook research about last week and then I could pull that into my chat and then do my stuff in Gemini. However, in Opal, in these flows, it did not give me, at least on mine, the option to pull in a notebook into it. So it just has to be all Gemini doing all of it. And I do like the way Notebook LM writes better also. Like I like its summaries better at the beginning. I like its conclusions better. Those are the main things I like better, the summaries and the conclusion. But I'm guessing I could teach if I give examples and say, do this, don't do this in my automation. That's one of the tweaks you would make to these kind of things over time. Then I could get the end result that I want. As long as I'm getting all the news that I need, I could have the summary and intro and conclusion that I like from Notebook LM. But right now I do like how Notebook LM writes better. And I also like their infographics built in Notebook LM versus ones built on Gemini Nano Banana. And I've taken the same prompt. I'll take the same prompt, the prompt that Notebook LM gives me, and I'll make the infographic in Notebook LM, and then I'll go to Gemini with the same prompt and make it there. And 9 times out of 10, I like the Notebook LM one better for visual reasons and more accurate, just everything better. However, I'm sure I could tweak it or just deal with it and go with the not great one that probably doesn't even matter and use Gemini in my automation. So I do like the infographics in Notebook LM better. But, and I was just pulling up one of my deep research chats, my Tell Me Everything About Derek Bixler you can find. Deep research. Oh, and then I said, make a website out of that. And it gave me a website all about me. Professional profile, performance data, client sentiment, local impact in tech. And then I can share that, blah, 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 which is what I'm always talking about with the guides and stuff. First, it should be on a website if you're taking a lot of time to write nice, good SEO friendly guides. But if you just want like a gamma type thing, Google can essentially do all that stuff at the click of a button in the chat that you're already in. If you eke your way through it a few times to learn how to do it, and it can look any way you want. And if you develop a prompt that gives it the perfect, I like it dark mode with the button to toggle to light mode, which it easily does. That's my favorite. I like dark mode, but other people might like light mode. So give me that button. You could even put a hovering phone call button in the corner. I mean, you can do whatever it tells you to. So you come up with a standard look, style, and like the standard things you like on your reports or things, and then that's a supplement to, and you might even be able to do that in your context window. Ooh, that's a good one. In my information about me, add one about anytime I ask you to make a website, I want it dark mode with this and that, and I want it to look kind of like, I like mine in the style of like Google Gemini, like a really modern, it kind of has a style it will do that's pretty good automatically, but you can do all that in there. But anyway, I was trying to find the deep research. I didn't do it with Michael over here. So here's the pane. What did it give me? Share and export. Share, export to docs, copy contents, and then you can create. And this is in regular Gemini deep research. I asked it about this person. Give me all the information, blah, blah, blah. And then create web page. So again, you don't even have to go to Gamma. You can just research it right here and then say, make a website about it. And if over time you're like, it always doesn't put this thing in there, then you just add that to your master prompt that you supplement it with, or add it to your personal intelligence or whatever. And after a while, it's going to remember. Like right now, it may or may not, but after a while, it's going to know how I like my websites to look every time. And I'm not even going to have to say anything. And I'm just going to say, hey, I need a CMA for 123 Main Street. And 90 seconds later, I have a beautiful report completely done for me to review. I look at it and then say, okay, send it off. And then it does it to the client, blah, blah, blah. So you can create the web page. You can create infographic right there. Haven't tested it in here, but I'm guessing, I don't know, because it seems like they're using the same technology as Notebook LM, but I'm in Gemini. So we'll see what the infographic comes out like. I haven't tried it at that spot yet. A quiz, which they also have in Notebook LM, flashcards, also in Notebook LM, and audio overview, also in Notebook LM. The ones that are missing here that are in Notebook LM and not here are video overview for sure, and slide deck, and data table, slide deck, and mind map. No, I'm mind map either. So there's 3 that you get in Notebook LM and not in Gemini deep research, but you got a lot of stuff there. And Notebook LM is not going to build a website for you, right? Let me go over here and check before I say that. No, it is not. I can see that there is a missing tile. It's not even. There's 5 on one side and 4 on the other side. So that new tile in there needs to be filled in with website or web page. And I could see that happening any second now. But you can't do that in Notebook LM. So if you wanted to do this presentation kind of thing, you could test that instead of doing Notebook LM, which everybody is teaching, which I do, and I still think is great. Notebook LM is the bomb and the best thing since sliced bread. But Gemini Deep Research seems to be very similar, and maybe, I haven't heard anybody say it, but maybe running off the same model that powers Notebook LM, because that's a differently trained model, trained for learning and research and teaching and that and reporting and that kind of thing. It's not just regular Gemini. So it appears to me that Gemini Deep Research is kind of maybe attached to it or similar. Plus, you're able to pull in notebooks now in regular Gemini. So if you wanted to create an expert on something, you could do it and then pull them into your regular Gemini, do the thing, then go over here, create web page, bam, done. Fantastic. And I think that's my last piece. Mariner VO. Last one is VO3, which is Google's video generation model. You can just go to Gemini to use that. You can also use it at flow.google, I believe is what it is. It's a little bit upgraded version of VO3 for people that, I think that's only for subscribers, paying subscribers Flow. But you can use regular Google video generation right in Gemini. There is a daily limit, a little bit higher for people that pay for it. And I think The update they said was that now there's vertical, and this is another one that like I was doing this a while ago, so I'm not sure. And maybe it was the paid version had vertical, not everybody, but by default, still usually if you just give it text and ask for a video via text, it'll give you back a horizontal typically by default. But you can get it vertical now. In Flow, you can definitely pick. You've always been able to pick vertical or horizontal or square. So in regular Gemini video, you should be able to get a vertical video, which is great for all us marketers, short form, blah, blah, blah. But like I said before, I was getting them for sure with an ingredient to video where you take an image, upload it, and say, make this dude do this thing or whatever, make this house crumble to the ground and trees sprout out of the ground like 100 years have passed without humans. It'll do it vertically if what you gave it was vertical. So I've been doing it even in regular Gemini, but apparently it's maybe more widely available now. So you should be able to make vertical videos in there. And ingredients to video updates. This too, I was able to do in Gemini, but maybe it just rolled out to everybody that you can now add that ingredient to video, which is the best way to get what you want out of it, because you can tell it what you want. I want a guy with brown hair and blue eyes, pretty thin. I don't have blue eyes, brown hair, brown eyes, shaved head, blah, 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 but it's never going to look like me. So if I want a video of me or of a specific house or of two people talking to each other or whatever, I need to give it those ingredients to use, or the setting. If you wanted to make a video of something happening in one of your listings, so you had a vertical image of a kitchen and you wanted to show some scene happening, you would give it the vertical image of the kitchen plus maybe images of the people or the subjects. And then you would say, make this happen in this theme and make, or in this scene, and make them say this thing. This happens and say this thing, no music, but I do want sound effects. I don't like music, and they will put music sometimes. So I don't like music because I want to add it later. I don't want it on top of dialogue of blah, blah, blah. So do this thing, do all that. I don't want music unless you want music. Blah, 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 do the thing. And then if you wanted to make another one, because you're only getting like 5-8 seconds out of these things, I think it's 8, but then by the time you trim it down to the good few seconds that it gave you out of it, then you're a few seconds. So you need multiple clips a lot of times. So you need continuity. You need that room to look exactly the same on the next video you generate. And you need the person to look exactly the same in the next one you generate. So you can, again, put in your ingredients and say, make this happen. And now when you put them together, you have continuity and it all makes sense and everything matches. And there are tools, and even in Flow for Google, you can click a button to like continue scene, and then it will, you can tack on another scene with the same ingredients, blah, blah, blah. Works pretty well, not perfectly though. When I've tried it in Flow, it really didn't do it the way, didn't shortcut it the way I hoped, or did it keep the continuity the way I hoped. And it uses a lot of, Flow uses a lot of AI credits. So I try to do my video creation in Gemini for the most part. But if you want continuity, you need to be able to do this ingredients, or even to just be able to make a video of the actual thing that you want to make a video of, you have to use ingredients. So that's a good one. And if you don't, this is a good action item if you want to, and I'm going long, but that's all right. This is a good action item for video, and whether it's Gemini, GPT, whoever, Kling. I'm liking Kling. I might start paying for Kling. If you go to their app, they've got some killer templates that look really awesome, and you can do an AI version of yourself there. Also, 11 Labs I saw now has video, so you really don't need what's the other one? Can't remember. The other one for creating an avatar, I forget. They use 11 Labs for the audio, but how quickly I forget. So, and I was having trouble getting that to work properly. So I think I might do 11 Labs, which has the video in it now. So you really don't even need the other one. VO3, what was I saying? Oh, the action items. Get a picture of yourself. I would make like a vertical image with a white background. And you can do that in Canva. Just take a full body image of you just standing there regular, as if you're creating an avatar of yourself. A front picture, maybe a side picture, maybe a back picture. You could even have, edit it and have all those different angles on one image, like for my Dave the robot, and for myself actually. And I actually have a version of myself in underwear that I can put in there if I want to like put clothes on me. So I can start with literally, it's not like pretending it knows how fat or skinny I am. It will literally know exactly what it's starting with. I don't usually use that one, but so and you don't have to do that. Just regular clothes, front picture, just staring right ahead, may or may not be smiling. You could also do a headshot one, a separate headshot. The head could be on the same image. So you could have like one vertical image, one wide image that has all these, like me from the front, me from the side, me from the back, and then my head zoomed in from the front, from the side, from the back. And then when you give that to these things as an ingredient, it has every single angle. One of the things VO does for me is if I give it me as an ingredient, and it does it even if I give it the back of me, they need to figure this out. From the front, I will have a shaved head, but then the motion will happen and I'll do whatever I told it to make me do. And when I turn around, it's like regular long hair in the back. So it looks like this weird shortened mullet kind of thing for my hair. So it's not perfect yet, but if you want to try to have some continuity, that's a good thing to have in your camera roll. Have, a couple headshots, a full body shot, maybe a closer up of your torso of yourself just in your camera roll. So anytime you want to make a video and you want yourself to be a subject or whatever you want the subject to be, you can drop it in there as an ingredient, and then it can base the video on that. And you can do that in chat. In Sora, you can add ingredients, definitely on desktop. I'm not sure about on the app. And then Kling and all the other ones also, they all take ingredients. So there's been a little bit of an upgrade to, I think, the widespread availability of ingredients for VO if you want to try that. And we're 20 minutes after, but I think that's everything. Anybody have any questions or anything that's here live? The hanger inners?
Thank you, Derek. It was great information. I have Gemini Pro. It is provided by my office. You were saying that we can see in there our Google Photos as well in Gemini or in Google.
Yeah.
Did I understand correctly?
You can give it access to your photos and essentially see them. So yeah, you would go into Gemini and click personal intelligence.
But where did I see I have to type personal intelligence. Thank you.
It should be on desktop, it's under the settings wheel.
Okay.
And on mobile, I think I clicked my face on mobile.
Okay. And it's called, what is called? Personal
intelligence.
Yeah, I don't see neither one of mine. I only see activities, apps, schedule actions, themes, and notebook LM.
When you click on your face, you don't see schedule actions, gem manager, notebook. So you don't see personal intelligence in yours.
No, I don't see personal intelligence.
Where it says manage subscription, does it say pro?
It says pro. Yes. And I'm in the app. It has not only has privacy settings, report a problem. Maybe we didn't get access to that from the office. I don't know.
It's possible because they can control certain things, and like
Yes.
I mentioned, just because it says Gemini included in Workspace, again, does not mean all the Gemini stuff is available, and especially on image and video and stuff like that. But yeah, and if anybody else has any, and it was called something else before it was personal intelligence. It was, I think it said connected apps or some kind of personalized, or it said something. It just changed to this button, but yeah. So check that out. Maybe it's not out to everybody, and if you have Pro, I would think
I
it's
will.
not because. Yeah, I don't think it's because you're paying for it.
Yeah, I'm not paying. I have to.
When you get it, it'll probably give you a banner as soon as you open the app.
Okay, and I have the Google Chat. I had the Google Chat, the Google Drive, the Google Keeps, the Google Documents, the Calendar, and the Google Task.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Derek.
Yeah. And then if there's any others, and they'll start rolling them out. So like every week or so, I'll go in there and check it, and maybe there's a new one. Like I didn't have the texts and calls before, but now it is in there, and it's great. It's even now like if I ask it a question that I know that it needs to check my stuff to know, I can see it saying checking personal intelligence, checking calendar, checking emails, found email, analyzing email. It's pretty fantastic. All right. Anybody else have anything?
Good morning, Derek. Well, good morning from Portland.
Hey.
Hi. I'm working on my profile today. I am using Gemini to kind of work through the stuff that we talked about. I know we talked about putting photos of, and it was supposed to be just houses. So Gemini's saying I should be putting like my foster dogs on there too.
No. On
Okay.
the Google Business profile? Yeah, no. Houses and client pictures
Okay. Okay. I was
and
just,
videos also.
yeah. And I can do my listing videos on there, right?
Just have to be less than 30 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. I was going to send you an email, but you were here.
Nice. Perfect. And everybody else gets to benefit. Yeah,
Exactly.
sometimes the things are wrong and it thinks like it's probably thinking you're supposed to endear yourself to people and that's what you want. Like no, that's not what you want. Yeah, that doesn't represent real estate at all. And I mean, maybe there's an argument to it. Somebody could test that if you want to test it. Just do all, like go the opposite way. Do all food and pictures of me at places and just like a social media reel and see if it works. Maybe it would. Who knows? And if it does, I'm happy to switch. I don't think so, but all right. Cool. Anybody else have anything?
Good morning, Derek.
Morning. What's up, man? How's it going?
Good. Great segment today. You know, you got me thinking about Gemini, and I'm wondering in the future or in the near future, it could get to a point where, because we're also dealing with browsers and search, I can also see a potential where Google Gemini would be integrated directly proportionally to Google Disco at some point. And that's also going to be happening for other browsers and other search engines too. So I believe the way it's going is also going to be personalized. So it's going to create that more user-friendly interface as opposed to it being like a browser on top of another engine. So I'm looking forward to that. So that just gave me a thought and I put that in the chat earlier. So thank you for that insight.
Yeah, personalized everything is coming. Every commercial we see, even they're talking about even like on Netflix, when you watch a show, it will be different for every person every time you watch it because it's just generating the video at that time based on your mood and your things and what you did and what you watched before or what you told it you want it to be, and it could even ask you to create the ending or whatever. So the interfaces, the search or our browsers, all the things at some point will be personalized and created pixel by pixel for us in that moment because everything will be that good. Cool. All right, well, I'll let everybody go. 27 minutes late, but we crammed it in. You hung in there. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Reputation's key will show you how. AI's the future, the time is now. Google for real estate, let's go. Agents